Welcome back to Mocha at Marchelle's, where we sip, reflect, and rebuild one story at a time. I'm your host, Stavonne Marchelle, and today's episode is called Second Chances, First Principles. This one's about what happens when life hands you another chance to love, but this time you show up with a little more wisdom, a little more healing, and a whole lot more self-awareness. Because sometimes it's not that the love failed, it's that we were still learning how to love well. So let's get straight to it. I was 16 when I first got together with my ex-husband. At that age, my dad was just incarcerated, and I had already learned how to be strong, how to protect myself, and how to survive. I like to say I was a warrior princess. I knew how to fight, but not yet how to soften. All I wanted back then was to do everything right. I came from divorced parents, and I was determined that would never be my story. My goal was to stay married, to build stability, and to create a home. But here's what I didn't know then. Good intentions don't replace relational intelligence. You can want to love well and still lack the tools to actually do it. I didn't understand yet communication, boundaries, or how to model healthy love. What I did understand were the patterns I'd seen, even when those patterns weren't even good for me. My ex-husband was incredibly gracious. He extended patience and forgiveness when I didn't always deserve it. But here's the thing about grace. If you're not self-aware, grace can become a cushion. Instead of transforming me, it shielded me from having to confront myself. I didn't grow because I didn't have to. And when real challenges came, addiction, arguments, financial stress, our marriage couldn't withstand the weight of all that unhealed pain. The arguments became explosions. Peace felt impossible. And love, the kind we both desperately wanted, got buried beneath pride and exhaustion. Eventually, I had to make one of the hardest decisions of my life, to end my marriage. But even that didn't happen gracefully. Before I ever filed for divorce, I had already emotionally checked out for almost 2 years. It was like a slow fade, the kind that leaves two people coexisting instead of connecting. If I could talk to that 16-year-old warrior princess, if I could take it all the way back, I'd tell her this. You can be strong and still learn to love softly. You can be loyal and still have boundaries. You can build a life and still protect your peace. If I knew then what I know now, I would have gone into marriage with more awareness, not just about love, but about structure. I would have opened conversations about finances. I would have protected assets before we even built them with a prenuptial agreement, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because healthy relationships are the foundation of wealth. When a partnership is aligned emotionally, mentally, financially, everything else can flourish. After my divorce, I moved on quickly, too quickly. And that new relationship, beautiful in its own way, became the classroom for every lesson I hadn't yet mastered. I had to unlearn, relearn, and rebuild what love actually looked like through counseling, therapy, and studying the greats, people like Esther Perel, Aaron and Jocelyn Freeman, and Dr. John and Julie Gottman, the Gottmans, who spent decades researching what makes relationships thrive. I began to reshape my mindset. I learned that partnership isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's learning how to communicate without collapsing. how to connect without losing yourself, how to love from wholeness rather than wounds. So today, I'm still learning, still growing, still realigning. But now I lead with principles, not just feelings. I've learned that my job isn't to complete anyone, it's to complement them. And to do that, I have to keep doing the inner work every single day. Second chances are real, but only when they're built on first principles. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who's rebuilding too. Because second chances aren't just about finding new love. They're about becoming someone who loves differently. Until next time, this is Mocha at Marchelle's. Take care of your heart, protect your peace, and keep pouring from your overflow. Before I close today's episode, I want to share something personal. Something that shaped the way I learned to love, to fight, and to rebuild. This is a letter that as I was going through my healing, I wrote but never shared out loud. It's called Letter to My Father. It actually sums up the healing that was happening as I was transforming and observing the patterns. And I actually never even got a chance to share this with my ex-husband, but I'll share it with you. I'm sorry, Dad. I broke his heart just as she did yours. We were two young kids, gifted with a beautiful love and hands that didn't know how to cultivate. We can blame our pathologies. We can blame our youth. We can blame each other, but neither of us can walk away clean. There's no doubt in my mind that I made the right decision for myself to end the relationship when I did, but I wanted the end to look better. Like a surgeon, I wanted to have a clean break. But that's just it. There's no way to break the heart clean. Heartbreak is death. I died, and so did someone I loved very dearly, as if my own heart. There's blood on my hands. I can feel it. It haunts me. I try to suppress it, to contain it, to control it, but I'm plagued by an illness, and my biggest symptom is guilt. I'm sorry. I haven't said that to him, but I know how bad he needs to hear it, to move on with his life, to open his heart again. He is the father of my daughters, living his life through this open heart surgery. All emotional arteries exposed, and it's my responsibility to break this pattern, or else our entire life is in vain. So I want to tell you all the words I will tell you that you needed to hear from my mother. Steve, you were my first and only true love. You were the father that I needed and always wanted. Life is crazy. I longed for the love of the short, cute serviceman in the picture who was to rescue me from the hell of being raised by my mother. I suffered at her hands and through her negligence. She really did a number on the internal beauty of my essence, but I survived. I'm still here. I never wanted to divorce you, but together we were too volatile. I feel I made the right decision for myself to end the relationship when I did, but I wanted the end to look better. I wanted a clean break. I now understand that heartbreak is never clean. Both our hearts broke and we died. We die a million deaths in one lifetime, and with each day we have an opportunity to rise again. Divorce and recovery are like going through an emotional open heart surgery in front of everyone you know. I moved on very quickly, so I'm actually going through an open heart transplant surgery in front of everyone. I received a new heart from a donor, and I'm learning to love again, opening my heart to another and holding his heart in my hand. I feel both honored and terrified. Scared that I will do the same thing, that I will damage another human being. Afraid to love? No. Afraid to die. Love requires work, and you must be willing to die for it. That was my letter to my father, but in a lot of ways, it was also a letter to the parts of me that were still waiting for closure. Sometimes healing doesn't come from reconciliation. It comes from release.